Greetings out there in astrology land. So, we've got two really big events coming up, literally an hour and a half apart on Monday, on the 17th. So, the first one is the new moon in Cancer, and this is almost in direct opposition to the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. I'm pretty sure you guys can feel how old things that don't work are being torn down. Like, if they're working at all, if they're operating, cool, it's fine. But if they're not working, stuff is like nearly coming apart at the speed of light. Like, faster than you can imagine. Old shit is popping up, and it's with Saturn and Pisces ruling the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. This is about subconscious things. And Saturn, although it doesn't directly deal with fear, it can. It usually deals with, oppression and restriction and, all of the Capricorn stuff that we've been dealing with since 2008. And even me, with being very, Capricorn in the things that I do, even though I'm a Cancer, because Saturn is very close to my Sun and my Mercury both, and there's a lot of other astrological things I won't get into that very much kind of push me into that Capricorn space. I've had a hard time being motivated, and that's the other part of this. Anybody that is overly Capricorn, people that are Capricorns or people that are Aquarius, or anybody that is very dedicated to their career or, overly dedicated to long-term things, is having a hard time getting motivated. Like, it has taken me like 2 days to start recording this, for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. There wasn't any reason. I couldn't get here. But just sitting down and doing it and drawing a line and being like, okay, enough. I need to get this done. Because I know that, you guys like me doing these things, and it makes me feel better to put the content out so that everybody doesn't know exactly why they're feeling things or what they're feeling, but like me letting you guys know what the, mechanical as above is creating the, as below things, right? Because we are a reflection of what is going on in our outside world, in our inside world, right? The inside and the outside match. That's kind of like what I was watching all the protests in France going on for the last couple of weeks, or, last couple of months or whatever, especially the last couple of weeks. There was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I thought, well, the outside is now matching the inside. What is going on there and the rest of the world is how people are feeling, right? So if you see violence and injustice, it's because people feel violent and they feel violent and violated, right? So they're taken to the streets with that shit. And I'm being very aware of this, especially again with Pluto and Capricorn. Anything that's not working is with Pluto's. He's revealing it. He's showing it. And with Pluto and Neptune close to 60 degrees apart, they are focusing on Venus in Leo, right? Those 2 points. It's a 150 degree angle close to between Pluto and Venus, and then Neptune and Venus. And that creates what we call a yod. That's the finger of fate. So how we feel about things, how we feel about, Leo stuff, our ego or our creations or children or, things like that. Are we creating better ways for us to feel and move forward? Are we creating boundaries, right? Creating our value systems. And that's what Venus does. It's value systems, right? So it rules Taurus and it rules Libra. Taurus is that steady, physical, hands-on, value system, and Libra is the balance of it. It is justice and fairness in relationships, any relationships, like how much coffee did I drink today, like You know, are you being fair to the people that you work with, right? It's all of that, all encompassing, but it all goes back to Venus. And Neptune is not exactly, it doesn't do details. It doesn't. And Pluto in Capricorn, being ruled by Saturn that's in Pisces, also does not do details. It tends to be a light switch. It's like, is that working? It is for right now. Okay, cool. Then leave it alone. Is this working? Okay, it is for right now. Okay, then leave it alone. Well, why are we keep asking if this is working or not? Well, maybe you're worried about it. Like, do you need to be worried about it, or just you need to pay attention to it for a little bit, right? Mercury is in Leo and it's catching up, so there's still information that's coming forward. Like that last new moon video that I did in Gemini, that I was talking about the answers coming up, the details that were coming up, they are coming, right? And it's still kind of catching up to Venus. It hasn't quite gotten there, so our understanding of those details of our value system is not quite there yet, but it is coming, right? So it's currently being, those details are being reflected in our emotions and how we're speaking, right? Again, a lot of these subconscious things are coming out. And the sun and the moon together in Cancer is very much like that. And it is very communication based. I know it's in Cancer, but there is a lot of communication going on about it. There's people lashing out and people burning bridges, and there might be bridges that actually physically catch on fire, you know, or you know, communications between people, between groups and peoples is pretty intense. The almost 60-degree angle between the sun, the moon, between this new moon and Uranus, at 22 degrees of Taurus, also goes back to the world, right? It goes back to our groups. And can we work through our subconscious issues and allow ourselves to communicate? Or are we just gonna let this shit, you know, let our old patterns and our dumbass beliefs about stuff destroy the shit, right? Because Mercury in Leo is also square Jupiter in Taurus, right? Square point is always a decision, right? And Mercury in Leo wants to pick itself, right? Mercury's moving super fast, and he is going to retrograde in Virgo, right? But he's still moving pretty quick. But Jupiter is wanting to believe, like he wants to believe that he's valuable, and Mercury knows that he's valuable in Leo, but how big is that value, right? How big is that ego? How big is that knowing, right? How big is your understanding of yourself, of your understanding of what you're creating? Are you creating something valuable? Are you creating valuable beliefs? Or you know, are you drawing it down? You cutting it off? And these are all questions that we really need to be asking ourselves. With Mars in Virgo, that is at a very loose square. It's, you know, 22 degrees of, with Uranus at 22 degrees of Taurus and Mars at 4 degrees. That's kind of big. That's kind of a big angle there. I don't know why the program put that square there, because it's kind of rough. Actually, it's more Venus, but Mars in opposition to Saturn. Mars wants to move forward, but in Virgo, he's out of his water. He's out of his depth there. And especially Saturn down on power in Pisces, and now the soldier Mars is in the opposite energy from his general. The general is walking around in the fog, and the soldier is in the dirt. He's going, boss, where are you at? Like, what's going on? And the only thing, you know, the only guidance that Mars can get right now is Mercury, that's in Leo, is like, hey man, go for it. You know you can do this. Be critical. You know, figure the information out. And Mars is like, yeah, but Venus is right here. She's real slow, but she's behind me. And she doesn't really know what's going on either. You know, she's a little confused. She's all over the place. I'm not sure what to do here. So knowing where to move forward is a bit of an issue, but just keep moving forward. If you want to like be critical and attack something that is working, like if things are moving forward or things are coming up, how about you just let them keep moving forward? You know, I know some of you guys might feel like I'm attacking you. I mean, I know some of the things that are going on in y'all's lives, but not everything. I'm not inside your relationships. All I know is what you guys tell me, right? Or for, you know, anybody else out there, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm putting this out to everybody. Like I'm gonna dump this on my YouTube channel, as I'm sure you guys have already seen. It's gonna be public, but so don't attack something that's working just because you feel aggression. Like I was feeling aggressive pressure, and I'm not sure what to do with it. So I'm pouring it into this video. I'm, you know, expressing. And that's the other big thing here. Express, but don't destroy, right? Things are eroding. And if things need to be repaired, repair them. And if things, you know, if you don't think something is worthy of being repaired, ask yourself why. Like, okay, is this time and energy worth repairing? I have a friend who they're doing some car repairs, or they need car repairs done, and the car is worth, you know, around $10,000, and the repairs are going to be several $1,000s. So the car could be sold right now for, you know, a number of $1,000s. I'm not really sure what. It's a valuable vehicle, but the repairs are necessary because they need a vehicle, right? It's not going to be worth their time to cut their losses and sell the vehicle, you know, before the expenses, or even repair the vehicle and then sell it, because then they still need another one. And like, well, you've already put the repairs on the vehicle, so now it's going to be, is it worth more? No, but it's solid. It is worth every dime you've put into it. All right. My car is very similar to that. Like my car's had, you know, it was only the sticker price on it. Now it's worth about $7,000. It has had $10,000 worth of work done to it in the last 2 years. All right. I hit a bear back in 2021. It was like, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 worth of damage to a $6,000 car. And then my transmission went out on it. So it's not the same thing. Right. But it runs and drives. It's a nice car. Everything works on it. You know, does it, you know, it's got some bumps and scrapes here and there, but it is worth, you know, it gets me where I need to go. So, you know, if something happens to it, yeah, I'm going to put some more money into it. I'm going to, you know, it needs brakes currently, so I'm going to get the brakes done on it. You know, and so repair, keep things repaired, keep working on things, keep moving forward. Even though you may not think you're seeing results, you are, right? We are at a critical mass point. We're getting to a critical mass point with a lot of stuff, but it's not quite there. We have to keep going. The last 3 years have been very telling about how the world was before, and you can see all the changes in people and the changes in groups, and you thought everything was okay, and even though a lot of stuff you knew it wasn't good, there were certain things you were like, okay, well, this is, you know, that thing's not a big issue. You know, I can keep moving forward. Well, now that one thing is a big issue and you have to do something about it. Or are these things outside of your daily life and you shouldn't worry about them at all? Be aware of them. And this is part of my spiritual path. I have to know what's going on in the outside world. I have to know. And as soon as I'm aware of that, I see the patterns, I see what's going on in the astrology, and I understand why people are doing what they're doing, right? It's, you know, everybody's going to react in a different way, but the motions, the waves and the energy and the, you know, like we're all surfers on these waves and we have to surf the waves no matter what. So I can see the waves and I can see why people are surfing the way they're surfing. but I can't let those things affect the way I'm surfing my wave. I have to look around and see what's going on in the other waves and see the cycles in the waves, and then I have to get on my board and surf. Pay attention to my wave, right? You know, like Chris Cornell when he was in Soundgarden, you know, keep it off my wave, right? He knew the waves that are around him, but he had to surf his waves. It's exactly like that, right? Surf your own wave. If you don't like somebody else's wave, you're not on their wave. Even if you're farther down, even if you're 3 feet from another surfer, you're still surfing your wave. You're doing it your way. And if you want to surf into them, that's between you and the other surfer. But, you know, a lot of us are on different parts of the same wave, and we got to figure out how to, you know, get everybody into the shore and then paddle back out into the waves, because there's no way around it. We have to keep going, all right? And the next thing about the keeping going happens shortly after this new moon. Okay, so the new moon was at 2:32 in the afternoon, and the next event is the node switch, right? The nodes of the moon go from Taurus and Scorpio into Aries and Libra, and they move backwards. I know it's kind of confusing, but they do move backwards. This node shift is very different from the last one, right? The last node shift was from Gemini and Sag into Taurus and Scorpio. So everything shifted, right? Gemini, Sag, you know, the north node in Gemini was ruled by Mercury, and the south node in Sagittarius was ruled by Jupiter. And then when the nodes moved into Taurus and Scorpio, it was Venus for the north node for Taurus, and Scorpio and Pluto and Mars for the south node. Well, now that the nodes are going to shift into Aries and Libra, we are leaving Pluto behind, right? Pluto is dropping out of the picture because he's not involved with Aries. And now Mars, that was the co-ruler of the south node in Scorpio, is now the ruler of the north node. And Venus, that was the ruler of the north node in Taurus, is now the ruler of the south node in Libra. It's a spin, it's a flip. So the direction, the manner in which you were moving forward, the compass points have spun now, and you may not be going where you think you were going. You have to reevaluate. You have to really pay attention, like Mars and Virgo, you have to pay attention to the direction you're going, right? You know, and with Venus, you know, about to be retrograde in Leo on the 22nd, 5 days after the new moon and the node flip. It's actually on Saturday. The Venus retrograde starts, and there's going to be a whole big thing with that. Venus has not retrograded in Leo since the 1500s. Like, it started off in Virgo and moved into Leo, or, you know, started in Leo, moved back into Cancer or whatever, but it has not started and finished in Leo since the 1500s. There's a lot of things that are going to come up that none of us have ever witnessed, right? And so our relationships and balance and justice and fairness, all of that stuff is going to be bananas. Now Mars is not going to retrograde in Virgo, but you know, Mercury in Leo is going to move over Venus, and there's going to be a lot of very egoic, probably hypercritical stuff that's going to happen, and people are really going to go at each other, right? Either they're going to overly talk. I think what's going to happen is, and be careful that you know, if you're a Gen Xer, Pluto in Libra, or if you are a Libra, or you have any Libra placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, whatever, or any Aries placements, and with Chiron and Aries, we all kind of have a bit of the wounded child, and things aren't looking exactly the way we want them to, right? We might do the Libra thing and say, no, it's fine, no, it's fine, no, it's fine, no, it's fine, and then suddenly we want a fist fight, right? Because it's not fine, and it's never been fine, but we didn't speak up, right? We need to open our mouths. We need to communicate. We have to communicate what is inside of us. We need to communicate so that we can create things to move forward, create a world to move forward into, create a new daily life, a new balance, a new working life, right? Whether Virgo, whether you're a Virgo ascendant or a Virgo moon or Virgo, it's about our daily lives. So go into your daily life, pay attention to it, right? Talk about the things that are going on in your life. Mercury and Leo. Leo is about life. It's about, it's about being vital. It's about vitality. It's about fun and entertainment. It's about everything other than work, right? It includes your friends, right? But it's not about your mind. It's not about your home. It's about all the fun things. It's about anything that you create. So create the communication, right? Create a way forward. And the sun being in Cancer still, it's ruling that. It's making it very emotional for us. And with the moon there, it's definitely like that. So there are ancient and things coming up in us. There are very old cycles in the world that are happening, but we really need to pay attention on about what we're doing, and we have to be careful that we don't run ourselves over, run other people over, ruin things that are fine. We might get triggered by shit, but we have to pay attention. So again, back to the nodes though, because I'm getting a little bit off. You see how this kind of wanders around. Mars in Virgo ruling the North Node in Aries. Go towards things that work, right? Seek things that work, and maybe even figure them out. Figure out why they work, what's working, and that way the things that aren't working, you understand why they're coming apart or why they're not working and what you can do to repair them. And sometimes you can't repair things. You just have to tear something down or leave it where it is and move on to the next thing. Replace the thing that's there. But don't think you can just drop something because you don't like the way it looks, right? Does it work? Yes. Then leave it alone or continue and improve it. Put energy into it. If it works, leave it be. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. Does it work? Do you need it? And then move forward. I suspect this is going to come back and bite me in the ass later on, as I'm, putting all this together and thinking about it, whether things work or not. Because typically when I make this stuff, I do the audio, do the screenshots, and talk to you guys about stuff, and then I don't even pay attention to how this affects me. I know that's kind of weird and crazy, and I'll dive all into this stuff for you guys, and then I don't look at it for me, but I do this stuff a lot, mostly because I need it. I started doing astrology because I needed to understand what was going on in my life. So pay attention to your daily life, pay attention to your daily work, right? And get into it. Like, there is new life that can come out of it. There's new things that can come out of it. There are, valuable things that you haven't been paying attention to in the details, right? The devil is in the details, but heaven is also in there too. The angels are also in there, right? When we do work, when we do Virgo things, and we just kind of let ourselves space out and we feel the vibe and we're in balance, and then suddenly we are actually in the moment, bang, that's when transformation happens, right? But we have to not think of it as work. You have to just look at the details and kind of let them flow, right? You can just, get into the work of your life and let it move you forward. And that will create things. That will create new things, new ways for you to move forward in ways that you never imagined. but you have to allow it. And that's what all of this is. Allowing things to move forward because they're gonna. We are not going backwards. You know, I know the world looks like it's breaking down, and your relationships might be breaking down, and you hate your job, and you wish you had a different car. Oh my God, that car that I had when I was in college was great, and I wish I had that car now because I don't like it. You're not going back to it, right? You might be able to figure out some kind of, financial situation so you can buy another one, but you can't get that other one back. And you're also forgetting that, remember how the brakes squeaked on that car, or how it wiggled when it was going 56 miles an hour, or that the passenger mirror didn't quite work, or that you always had to fuck around with the window in the rear, the rear passenger seat. There was stuff that you're forgetting. So value what is going on in your life right now and go towards more of that same value. And you will be shown, when you dive into it, you will be shown where to go next. And it will be shown through the details, through the small things. This is like in tarot, this is the world card or the wheel. It's the same card. As you were going through the process, if you were going through the details, like breadcrumbs, the breadcrumbs are always there. And this is confirmation bias at its finest, right? With Mercury in Leo squaring Jupiter in Taurus, with almost a retrograde Venus in Leo ruling that sign of Taurus, and Mars in Virgo. This is confirmation bias. What kind of world do you want to see? What kind of world do you want to create for yourself? Right? You can't go to France and you can't overthrow the government there. You can't go to Canada and stop whatever it is in Canada. You can't go to freaking California and fix all the homelessness. Where are you right now? What can you do in this moment to fix anything in your life? Do you need to go and fix yourself some lunch? Do you need to go and buy some shoelaces for your shoes? Do you need to go get cat food? When was the last time you made yourself something yummy? Whether it was a dessert or an actual meal, or do you just need to drink some water and sit down and watch some Netflix for a few minutes? Maybe that's what you need to do to fix your world at the moment, right? Because that's Virgo. It's the moment. So life is a series of moments, and creating those moments and allowing ourselves to dive into those moments is what creates the future that we want. So create the future that you want from the moments you are living right now. Love you guys.